Hey everybody, Maximus here again, and this time I thought I would do a different video in regards to my brief summary of what I saw on the Crypto Insider Summit, which is featured on Investor Place. Now I do realize that site, has a annual membership. I believe I paid $100 for my annual membership. Of course, I'm not paid by them in any way, shape, or form, but they have very useful information in regards to anything crypto related. So I thought I'd show you guys just a brief summary of my thoughts and concerns in regards to the summit and what basically this video is about, which is M.A.T. technology, which basically means mass adoption token. And the person that's mainly going to go over that is Charlie Shrem. I'm going to have just a few little brief glimpses of what he has to say in regards to that particular summit, which is super cool. Just a little bit of background of him. He's an American entrepreneur and Bitcoin advocate. He's actually been around in Bitcoin since the early infant stages. He's actually seen Bitcoin, I know it sounds crazy, but as cheap as $5 and got into it. So I mean, he's made a fortune, of course, in regards to that. He was also the co-founder of the now defunct startup company BitInstant. I actually remember BitInstant quite a few years ago. I think it was around 2011, 2012, something like that. And then he's also a founding member of the Bitcoin Foundation, which is super cool. He's only 32 years old, absolutely made a fortune, very knowledgeable person, knows a ton about blockchain technology. So I thought I'd show you guys what I'm talking about in regards to that. It's actually listed over here. And it states, Crypto Insider Summit, the $100 trillion crypto phase 3 bomb has officially dropped. Crypto legend Charlie Shrem just revealed a potential $100 trillion explosion in the cryptocurrency, or I should say in crypto, and his #1 way to play it. Now, of course, when he gets to the very end of the video, which is a 2-hour long video, he will give you, of course, his picks if you pay for it. I just didn't want to do that, but nonetheless, I did watch to the very end, and of course I will share with you one of his picks, which of course if you look at one of my tabs shows that pick. But nonetheless, some of the brief things I want to talk about is, this M.A.T. technology is actually tremendous. For a while we of course heard about NFTs and everything that is going on with crypto and NFTs. NFTs is a big thing that is taken the crypto world by storm in regards to if you're a long-term holder of certain NFTs, or if you're just a person that wants to do a quick quick flip, I guess you could say, on purchasing an NFT and selling it real quick for a profit. So the goal of, for instance, M.A.T. technology, which means mass adoption token, they want to be able to bridge the gap between crypto and investors, or I should say crypto investors and new investors. So for instance, right now in crypto, for the most part, if you're trying to educate yourself about crypto, there is no real one-stop shop, if you will, kind of like Yahoo Finance and other sites to go to. It's not like stocks, as you know. So for instance, there is no, like I mentioned, one-stop shop. You have to kind of educate yourself, whether it's YouTube videos or just learning about what white paper is all about, or learning about how these contracts work. There's a lot of, like, I guess you could say, weeds to go through to educate yourself. That's basically what I had to do. I had to force myself to learn a lot of this stuff. And M.A.T. technology eventually is going to be designed in which there's going to be a lot of education in regards to it. Now M.A.T. technology, basically, their goal also is, if anything can be traded for any price, for instance real estate, this is going to relate to, of course, the music industry, big movies and so on. They're going to get involved in that. And then another thing I was going to state is, M.A.T.s are the next big thing that will affect the crypto market. Currently, when I was looking around on YouTube, I didn't see a lot of information in regards to like this exact term. But I imagine within the next few months, and especially more deeper into 2022, you're going to see or hear this topic brought up quite a bit. So before I keep going on and rant and raving about this, I'm going to play a short clip in regards to this here in a bit. So stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Right now, the top 1% of people in the US own more wealth than the entire middle class. Mass adoption tokens provide a solution to that problem because their function is to decentralize wealth. And obviously it goes way beyond the music industry. Another example is small businesses. Say you discover a new restaurant that you absolutely love. You think that they could be a huge franchise with hundreds of locations across the country. Traditionally, you wouldn't be able to invest in the restaurant unless they were already publicly traded. And in order to get big enough to be publicly traded, the restaurant would have had to take out loans to open a bunch of new locations. So we run into the same problem, right? Because the lending industry is monopolized by banks. But with this new technology, the restaurant owner could create Tom's Pizzeria token. They could create an M.A.T. that represents an ownership stake in their business that allows their fans to invest in it. Again, it's a win-win situation because it gives their customers a chance to invest in the early stages of a potentially huge franchise. And it gives the business owner that capital that they need to expand without having to deal with the financial institutions. With mass adoption tokens, there's no barrier to entry for businesses to go public anymore. That's a huge deal for the average investor who has been traditionally locked out of investing in private companies. And again, there are already a bunch of innovators that are working on this idea. Liquith and Alpha Wallet are two good examples. They guide small businesses through the process of creating a token on the blockchain that represents a share in the company. It's called a security token offering, or STO, and it's a term that is going to become even more popular than IPOs pretty soon.
So what Charlie Shrem had to state sounded really cool. And nonetheless, I have some more clips I'm going to show you guys here briefly. But, it doesn't just end there. The NBA, for instance, is talking about plans in regards to their own take on M.A.T.s. And for instance, this was posted, of course, back in October, but nonetheless, it really pounds home, the whole idea behind what the NBA may very well, do in regards to that. So it states here, it says the NBA has discussed team sales of fan tokens, a cryptocurrency, according to Joe Tsai. Now, it also mentions here that in his interview, the NBA has discussed the sale of fan tokens, a cryptocurrency, by teams that would create a new billion-dollar revenue stream for the league and permits fans to gain new privileges and even play a role in team decisions, albeit, minor ones. It says it's all part of what Tsai, who co-founded the Chinese e-commerce giant Alibaba, right? Most of us know about Alibaba, and knows a bit about marketing, believes it will be a shift in the fan experience. It also states that in regards to passive media model of fan engagement to an interactive one that would include fan tokens, NFTs, and of course sports betting. Tsai also said he's closely but not directly following the progress of New York State's sports betting plans. So, what is the whole point of this article? Well, think about mass adoption. If the NBA takes on this approach, then you would essentially have an M.A.T. in regards to the NBA. This next segment is going to go on a little bit more about that, but nonetheless, I just thought I would show you guys an example in regards to the NBA, because this is going to affect, of course, real estate, the music industry, Hollywood big budget productions, you name it. So Stay tuned. Here we go.
It allows for us to instantly, accurately, and transparently trace the history and transmission of an object, which again has never been done and hasn't been out there. So think about that from the perspective of the creator or the gig economy. You now have massive potential as a creator or an artist to be compensated for your work and distribute your work without the gatekeepers that formerly existed, without the, if you think about it from an artist perspective, without the dealers, the gallery owners, all the other people that set up structures to limit access. Now you can go right directly to your own community and get compensated for that. So there are a lot of walls that are crumbling due to tokenization. All of this technology is about eliminating that middleman, that fractional sort of transactional friction that exists. So be it real estate, settlement of estates upon death, like probate, carbon credits, intellectual property, art, collectibles, you name it, especially financial instruments, you're likely going to be impacted. Another question Charlie asked was, what specific industries do I think will be most impacted by tokenization? And that's a great question. In the physical or analog world, I think real estate is obviously going to be massively disrupted. Anything that has current barriers to being exchanged or fractionalized will be impacted, and real estate's the obvious one. I mean, think about real estate. Right now you have things like title insurance, attorneys, brokers, all these things that are in there really just to make sure that there are proper transmission of ownership and that's done right. And when NFT technology can do it in a more efficient, transparent, and inexpensive manner, you're going to see massive disruption in that world. Not only tangible real assets, but intangible real assets. So think intellectual property, think carbon credits, think anything you can trade. People often ask me, how big do I think this market's going to be in 5 years or 10 years? Well, in 5 years, I think we'll probably approach $10 trillion. Once you hit 1 billion users is when you really see that hockey stick growth and it just becomes ingrained. I think at current growth trends, we're probably a couple years away from 1 billion users, but once you hit that 1 billion users, the numbers go off the chart. So in 5 years, I think $10 trillion is realistic. In 10 years, I don't think you'll be able to measure the value of that tokenization NFT crypto universe. I think it'll just be too big. It'll be so deeply ingrained in our society, in our economy, that it'll be impossible to measure. It'll be like the internet, where people don't say, oh, well, how valuable is the internet? Or what part of the economy is the internet? You can't separate the two at this point. And I think NFT and tokenization and crypto technology will obviously hit that point, somewhere in that 5 to 10 year mark.
Tokenization will have an even greater impact. The market will be in the tens of trillions of dollars in the next 5 to 10 years. Just to be clear, that's the CEO of an investment firm that specializes in blockchain, saying that this tech will have an even bigger impact than the internet. I also reached out to a guy named Friedman, who gave me permission to use his name. Graham is the director of token offerings at the popular crowdfunding platform called Republic.com. They have over 1.5 million members, and they've raised over $700 million for startups since 2016. Here's what he wrote back. I truly believe that asset digitalization or tokenization will affect all things in this world. Markets will be created where they can be, and everything will become collectible. Within 5 years, every brand will be offering collectibles, and each community will attempt to rally behind some sort of M.A.T.
So, with that said, what does the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission think of all this, the SEC? Well, Jay Clayton, who's the chairman of the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, appears to believe in blockchain technology's power and thinks that all stocks could become tokenized one day. Now, keep in mind, one day, this was actually posted back in 2020. So you can see the progress that has been done in regards to all this. Alright guys, so my takeaway from all this in regards to the Crypto Insider Summit and what Charlie Shrem had to state was that you're going to see many companies this year that are going to end up tokenizing their brands simply because it is such a great revenue stream. Another thing that I took away from the summit was to invest in platforms. Now, when the summit concluded, we were able to get one of the picks that Charlie Shrem mentioned in his summit. Of course, I didn't get the other two because, you know, that requires an extra payment, crazy amount, $2,500. But for some people, maybe it's worth it. I felt as though it was nice to be able to get one of his picks by simply watching to the end of the video. And his pick was M.A.T.s. Let me show you guys that. So he states that M.A.T.s, which ticker symbol is audio, is basically a blockchain streaming platform for independent artists. It allows artists to monetize their work without having to get involved with record labels, for instance. It's already attracting mainstream artists, and you can also use the voting rights for the platform, which are basically held, for instance, by the people who own the token. As a token holder, you get a say in the company's decisions, hence the term governance, which I thought was pretty cool. Trading around $1.60 or so, this could very well end up being the next Spotify. And when I saw the info posted in regards to this, I thought it was huge because, you know what, people want to talk about utility tokens and, does it have any use case? Perfect use case. And so here's the site, M.A.T.s.co. says unleash your music, discover and stream up and coming artists. If you click here, of course, it says learn about the token. I will show you guys a little bit more about that. But just going through it, I mean, really nice looking site. It says they can give everyone the freedom to share and listen. It says M.A.T.s is a brand new streaming platform built for all musicians, not just those signed to labels. Build a fan base, share your works in progress, and then publish your completed tracks for all the world to hear. Create, grow, and monetize, all without the need to graduate off the platform or sign a record deal. It says, built with the best, we designed it with you in mind and with them by our side. Now, maybe you guys have heard some of these other guys, but the one that definitely caught my eye was M.A.T.s. Big name. And nonetheless, he does have a quote that's posted here, which I thought was pretty cool, which I'll share with y'all. It says, as an artist, I spend much of my time seeing around the corner to the future of the industry, and M.A.T.s is clearly the way forward. I'm thrilled to join this team. And of course, you could go on to view the whole thing if you want. I don't want to, of course, do the whole thing because I realize this video is starting to get kind of long right now. But when you click on the area to learn more about the token, it does state that M.A.T.s connects fans, like I mentioned, directly with artists, like we saw earlier. But for instance, the security, it says own your own content. With M.A.T.s, artists can generate immutable and timestamp records for their creative works, secured by incentive-aligned, decentralized network of node operators. So it's basically taking your creations and putting it on the blockchain, like they mentioned before, without signing a record deal. We mentioned government. I mentioned governance earlier. It says that a platform owned and operated by its users. The future of M.A.T.s is entirely driven by audio governance. Everything about M.A.T.s is governable, with voting weight directly correlated to audio staked for value-added services. So take a look into that in regards to that. If you want to read more on the documentation, you can right here. As far as the price action, it's currently trading a little bit of 99 cents at the moment. So it's currently down about 4.5%. You may view that as it trading sideways or a slight dip if you want. Me personally, I always like to buy on the dip. Of course, none of this is investment advice. Please do your own research and take a look into it more further. This is actually on the Ethereum blockchain, so you can copy this, for instance. I'll show you guys how to do that. And I believe you can get on Uniswap. Let's take a look. There it is. So you just import it and you can purchase it with Ethereum. Swap it for Ethereum, I should state. So it looks pretty simple as far as that goes. I didn't see if it's listed on any other major exchange, but nonetheless I did see that you can of course get it on Uniswap, which was pretty cool. Nonetheless, now currently speaking, this is close to being a top 100 token. It's currently at 108. It does have a $605 million market cap. This was actually verified by the CMC team, which is pretty cool. The volume is currently up in the 24-hour period, 42% at 18.1 million. And as far as the amount of holders, it's got 24,713 holders. That's not bad. Take a little bit more look at the overview. So currently speaking, it's at it's been around since roughly October of 2020. Looks like the all-time highs was around a little over $4 back on March of 2021. There was another second all-time highs back in August of 2021, about $3.29. And then the last big, I should say about third or fourth all-time highs, about 278 back in as recent as November. And of course, there's a lot of things that were all-time highs in October and November and so on. That was a great month for crypto in general. So take a look at the project. They have been around for a while. At this point, it just needs more marketing, more adoption, and so on. But the significant part about this is a project that's actually implementing M.A.T.s. So you're going to start seeing more of this mentioned. I'm surprised that some of the mainstream channels or big influencers haven't mentioned it yet. I did see one thing posted, I think it was BitBoy, who posted about mass adoption blockchain. So the terms are getting thrown out there, but not necessarily the term mass adoption token or M.A.T. You should start seeing, of course, this pop up on your radar within the next few months. I was glad to be able to do a video on this and bring it to you guys from my channel. I hope you found value out of this. I will definitely be taking a close look at M.A.T.s. I'm gonna add it to my main watch list actually. So please like, comment, and subscribe if you can, and hit that bell notification. Thanks again for watching today's video, and with that said, have a blessed day, and we'll see you on the next one.